will lift. Here we go. I will lift up my voice unto the Lord. For he is good. He is good. I will lift up my voice unto the Lord. For the Lord is good. He is good. Say it again. I will lift. How long shall he reign? Come on, sopranos. Help me. I will sing glory, wisdom to the King for he reigns forever and ever and ever. Come on, tenors.
Today, very candidly on some topics pertaining to how we conduct ourselves in our relationships, how we are drawn away from our spouses, how we are drawn to friends, people of the opposite sex, people of the same sex. I have to preach about it and get indignant about it because there's a devil out there who's attempting to desensitize my church folk, thereby deceiving people and cause us never to reach our goals because we in the area of relationships. I need some people out there that's willing to lift up a standard on this morning and say, I'm going to have some companionship without compromise. Say it again, companionship without compromise. The Bible says, do not be deceived. Your desire, what is in you, becomes your temptation. That temptation can be conceived to bring forth sin. Do not be deceived into thinking, A, that you cannot be tempted. Do not be deceived into thinking once you conceive your temptation and that you will not bear any consequences because somebody doesn't know what you're doing. Furthermore, do not be deceived into thinking that your temptation, once conceived, is not sin. We may not talk about it in church. We may jump around a lot in church, but sin is still alive. It is still prevalent, and we still commit sexual sins. We still commit thoughtful lust in our mind. We still have the desires in our heart, and it is sin. This is one of those fire and brimstone messages. There is no middle ground with sin. You cannot stay on the fence and say, I'm going to be on this fence. I'm going to stick right here and just dabble my foot in it just a little bit, and I will not be burned. Sin will pull you in. Sin will pull you in and make you live a lifestyle that is not conducive to righteous living. Sin will pull you in. The saying says, you give the devil an inch and he will be your ruler. Stop giving the devil room to operate in your life. Stop giving him just a little bit and don't think that you won't be burned. It is sin, and the righteous of God must stand up and have companionship without compromise. Sin. I'm not just talking about homosexuals. I'm talking about heterosexuals, having sex before you're married, having relations with a friend of the opposite sex or the same sex, whatever flavor you like. I don't care. It may be blue, it may be black, whatever flavor's your flavor. I'm not going to harp on one and not harp on the other. Whatever your taste buds like, whatever it is sin. Crossing boundaries with someone you are engaged to. You are not married yet. Married folk, a wedding band does not change you. You must have a made-up mind, because fantasizing about someone else while you're having sex with your spouse, it is sin. Giving your loving to someone else emotionally or physically, it is sin. The enemy has come to desensitize us, to make us believe that it is okay to cross the line. So when I saw those messages on AOL, we see it so much. We just say, oh, he's gay. Oh, they're getting divorced. Oh, this is happening. And when we see it so much, we begin to take it in and say, but it's okay. And we begin to pacify the issues. We begin to say, it's all right. It's okay that you're gay. It's okay that you're having sex. It's okay that, no, it is sin. Call it a spade. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever a man sows, that he will also reap. For he who sows to the flesh will of the flesh reap correction. But he who sows to the Spirit will of the Spirit reap everlasting life. In a book series entitled Every Man's Battle, and there is a sequel called Every Woman's Battle. They outline certain things that we do need as human beings. I can talk about sin, but there are certain sexual things that we long for, emotional things. I have to talk about it in the church because you just can't get all your training out in the world. I have to talk about it from the pulpit. Men crave physical intimacy. Women, we crave emotional intimacy. Men, I would say, this may not always be true, but this is what the author, the experts say. Men can give love to get sex. Women can give sex to get love. Men, their body can disconnect from their mind, heart, and soul to have sex. Women, our body, mind, heart, and soul are all intricately connected. We can't separate one from the other. So you just say, women, I'm just going to do this with him and I'm all right. No, you're really not. Men are stimulated by what they see. That's why we have young girls walking around with the hoochie coochie shorts on. Because we know men are stimulated by that. But females, we are stimulated by what we hear. So if you know these different things about you to keep yourself from being tempted, there are certain people you can't talk to, ladies. Because if you let them into your ear gate, that's going to stimulate your senses. Men, if you, as we know, we see that you are stimulated by what you see. There are some ladies you can't look at twice. I tell Pastor, you can see the beautiful lady, but when you give a double take, you have gone too far. Too far. We said, well, I'm just making sure she was really as pretty as I thought she was. You better look my way. I'm as pretty as you thought I was. So you can't do the double take because that will stimulate your senses. Both men and women, but men have a recurrent physical need cycle, so that needs to be fed. Okay? So if you are single and if you are married and that is not being fed, you most likely will look to something to feed that, because that side of the man has to be fed. But if you are in this situation, be it you're single or if you're married and you cannot physically procreate at the time, you need to look at that. So you need to watch what you're taking in, because that craving will come up and want to be fed. Whereas the woman, we have a recurrent emotional needs cycle. That's why men a lot of times say we're crazy. Because at one moment we may want this, at another time we may feel this, at this time we may sense this, but we really need our emotional side of us to be fed.